Namaste friends, and I hope you're doing well. Yes, I know it's been a very, very long time since my last video. There's no excuses there. Anyway, here I am back with another video, and I hope that this would hopefully be continuous. Okay, I think I stopped with the Sun and Venus. Yeah, so let's talk about the Sun and Moon right now. So the Sun and Moon, of course, astronomically, it's like it's blocking the entire view of the Moon. All right, and of course, we are not doing astronomy here. We can talk so many things about the positions of the Sun and Moon when it comes to a proximity. This is not what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the Sun and Moon. What are the problems that one will have? Okay, what sort of issues that one will face if they have the Sun and Moon? So why do I start it in such a negative way when I say issues? Okay, but first of all, let's understand the third house, or rather, I'm going to talk about the Sun and Moon in the third house. The third is all about your will, your tenacity, your courage, your conviction, the power to move on in life. Okay, remember the first was all about your physical body. All right. The second is the assets that you create. Okay, of course we call it dhana bhava, and not only meaning money, but the second is all about assets. A good family is an asset, a good friend is an asset, having savings is an asset. Of course, the second house is house of savings. Your propensity for talking nice, for nice tactful words, for being a gentleman, or would have a strong demure for a lady. All these things is speech. Again, the second house is house of speech. How do you see, or rather, what do you collect? All right, and convert it into assets is seen in the second house, which is why the second is called the dhana, or the house of house of assets, not particularly something to do with money. So you move on in your life on the third house with all the assets that you have accumulated, or the residual outcome of those assets, to the third house, where you go out of the comforts of your family, and you go out to look for a job, to stand on your own feet, right? So it is important to assess all these houses. As I always say, these houses are the evolutionary process of this janma, this birth, from your physical body, the first, right, until the house of Vyaya, the 12th, the house of renunciation, right? Okay, so the third house is all about how well, or what is your capacity to move on in this life, to say, okay, mom and dad, I'm going out, I'm going to look, I'm going to find my own, my own goals and aspirations and dreams in life. Henceforth, I'm moving. Okay, and it shows how much capacity. Of course, this capacity is again judged with the second house. All right, I won't talk more about that. I'm just going to give you. I just gave you a brief understanding on what the third house. It means the house of your own will, your courage to move on in this life, to face adversities. So back to the thing when I said issues, right? I mentioned clearly before I started this, I said about issues about the Sun and Moon. You see, what happens is, this can be a double-edged sword thingy. First of all, the Sun represents authority. The Sun is the king, obviously. Okay, Surya Bhagavan controls, or rather takes precedence, okay, in most things. And of course, it has that combustion astangata thingy where it goes too close. Of course, it doesn't happen for Mercury, but let's not talk about that. I'm just making a point here that the Sun is glory, greatness, maha, or greatness naturally. Okay, it's dominance. Okay. Now the Moon is the manas or the mind, right? It controls the cognitive thinking. Can't say thinking, but the cognitive points of your mind, and how one perceives and how one uses his or her discernments in order to move in one's life. So, you have pride, authority, governance as the sun, and you have the mind, purity, and subtleness. It seems like they are kind of opposites, these two grahas. Of course, we should not look at them as, when I say Surya Bhagavan or the sun, one should not totally imagine as the sun, but then, these are astrological entities, right? Okay. Anyway, so you have the sun, and you have the moon, and you have the third house. So now that you know what happens, the synergy, okay, that formed with this sun and moon is not exactly stable, okay. It's very delicate. It can be broken very easily. It's pretty fragile, okay. So what happens is the people who, if you have this in your chart, now before I continue, also I would like to have a small disclaimer here, is that do not take this as words of truth, whatever that I'm saying here. This is absolutely, from a perspective that there are no issues with the grahas. I mean, of course, you need to assess so many things, from its special rules to its potency, its drishtis, its trans or its balas, its other dynamics with it. It's just so many things to assess. You cannot come to a conclusion that if you have sun and moon in the third house, this is what's going to happen. But however, there will be a significant amount of chance that whatever that I'm going to say, based on my years of experience, it has a huge commonality between people. Okay, but again, it will not be specifics to you. All right. Okay. So the sun and the moon doesn't actually create a very stable synergy. What happens is, these people who have the sun and moon in the third houses, they have this, those people who are, they don't care much. Say if you work with these people, I'm sure if you are working in a company, you will see some characters would be like, okay, I don't care, whatever. Let's say all of you go for a lunch, for a team lunch or something. And one of this person will be like, not laughing, not giggling on a joke, doesn't actually, take very much seriousness into any form of social obligations. Of course, if somebody giggles, probably if it's even not funny, maybe you can just maybe smile, just to create the equilibrium or the balance in the company, isn't it? But these people, they will be like emotionless, right? They'll be like, okay, so it's not funny, and there's no reason for me to laugh at it, right? Or it's not sad, and so I don't feel like saying sorry. They're sort of emotionless. Okay, obviously there's no such thing as emotionless unless there is some form of psychosis going on. However, the very essence here is that these people will be very pragmatic, okay, very practical people, and they become very successful in whatever they do, okay, because they are not controlled, or there isn't any, they are not bound by any rules, especially social obligation. They don't have such thing. They think that this is what life is all about, and whatever people are saying, it's their problem. This is what I see life is all about, and this is how I should proceed with it. Okay, that sort of fixated mindsets, right? Okay, but see, here's the thing: they are not bad. But again, when I say there's an issue about this, is because we live in a social environment. Okay, yes, our it's important that we follow our own thoughts, from political ideology to religious belief. It is very important because it creates the identity, right? It creates who we are. However, we need to, quote unquote, play the game, right? We are still social animals. So that is a big issue here. Yes, one may achieve success, but at the end of the day, these people are sort of recluse, right? They live by themselves. Okay, these people flourish in consulting jobs. Okay, they can give consultations, and that's about it. At the end of the consultations, they just leave. They find it very hard to work in a team, environment, where they need to talk with people and all that. They feel very difficult to engage people, because they're not much of a team player. They're very pragmatic in life. They know exactly what needs to be done and what not to be done. They're very, quote unquote, boring people. All right, they don't do much social activities. But generally speaking, this is the type of personality that I come to see. For the past 12 years, I come to see this personality coming up again and again and again. Okay, when they have this Surya Chandra conjunctions, these people tend to be sort of emotionless. But of course, that's a very harsh word to say. But for the lack of a better word, I couldn't find any other word. They are like fixated, single-minded people. Of course, this is not bad. However, they may not be social beings. They not be efficient. So they cannot be. Say if you have this in your charts and you wanted to be, or your parents or your friends or your spouse says that, okay, or you wanted yourself to be a politician, for example, or someone who works in a place where there's serving the people, maybe in some form of charitable organization, where a lot of people you'll meet, where a lot of your emotions needs to be controlled, right? Politicians is a classic example. You may not do well, right? Because it's natural that the propensities would not be there. The innate quality is lacking. It's not, I can't say it's a bad thing to have this, but it has its downfalls, okay? It has its problems, especially when it comes to social interactions. So I think I've talked a lot about this, but if there's one thing that I want to talk about this sun and moon, the third, is that when they proceed in their life, okay, their convictions, they are very strong, okay, they are brave. They can, if there's a wall of adversity, it's gonna be crushed, okay. These people will smash through the wall and move out, move into the next stage, and so on and so forth. They are very strong in their wills. Their conviction is strong. Their confidence is super strong. They do very well. But however, the minus point is that in life, these people are normally alone, recluse. Okay. Of course, there's so many else in my mind right now, but I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. So thank you, friends. I hope this video has been beneficial. Do subscribe. I really hope there's going to be more videos in a very linear fashion. That is. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being patient with my tardiness. And take care. Namaste.